Unless you've been living under a rock for the past few months, you've been seeing tons of different reviews, commercials, statues, and all types of advertisements about Google's new phone, the Pixel. Well, I've been using the Pixel in both models since its release date of October 20th. Now, since the similarities between these phones are so identical, I decided to just focus this review on the Pixel XL. If you really want to see a separate review of the smaller 5-inch Pixel, please leave your comments below and we'll be happy to make another video just going over the smaller Pixel. So without further ado, my name is Javon, this is Chill Tech, and this is our video review of the Google Pixel XL. Somebody's getting it, somebody's getting my love. Somebody's getting it, So what is a Pixel? In previous years, whenever Google had to launch a major device that they wanted to have full control of the hardware and software integration, they would dub that device the Pixel. The Pixel was also a name known for devices that had high-end specifications and a high-resolution display. For example, we had the high-end Google Pixel Chromebook and the Google Pixel C tablet from last year. Now we have the Google phone, or Pixel phone. Unlike the Nexus brand that Google previously owned, in which they gave guidelines and spec sheets to OEMs to make their phone in partnership. That meant that the partners had access and full control over the marketing, the design, as well as the distribution of those phones. Google is now ditching that brand and wants to make an Android experience to compete directly against Apple's iPhone and iOS. That's only possible with Google, since they are the first-party manufacturer of Android, and now they're going to be the first-party manufacturer of their own hardware. Google is finally designing the hardware and specifications while extremely fine-tuning Android to such a detail that has never been seen before, including the Google Nexus 6P, which we dubbed the best phone of 2015. So let's go ahead and start with the design, which is definitely high quality. The Pixel is built with a single piece of aluminum with a glass window on the back, taking up about a third of the space on the back, which Google says that's for better cellular and Wi-Fi connections. Like I said earlier, the Pixel comes in 2 colors and 3 sizes. Google named these colors Quite Black, Very Silver, and Really Blue. Now they all look nice. My favorite is definitely the Quite Black, which seems to be more of a dark gray depending on the light that's given. The Pixel comes in 2 sizes. The smaller Pixel, dubbed the Pixel, has a 5-inch AMOLED 1080p display, with the bigger phone, dubbed the Pixel XL, having a 5.5-inch AMOLED 1440p display. Now these displays give the Pixel name justice. They're exactly what we expected from Google, given how great the screens were on the Pixel laptop and the Pixel C tablet. These screens are gorgeous. They're bright, they're full of colors that are nice and punchy, the blacks are nice and deep, and with the Gorilla Glass 4, they're pretty durable and the screens are resistant to scratches. Underneath the display, we have one loud mono speaker that we wish was more like the iPhone 7 or HTC 10. Both of those phones offer stereo surround sound, but for the Pixel just having one speaker, it's surprisingly kind of good. The sound quality compares very well to the iPhone 6s Plus and the Galaxy Note 5. We just wish that the speaker just wasn't on the bottom. It's kind of easy to cover up. But for what it's worth, it's actually not a bad speaker. We also have a USB Type-C charging port that supports quick charging, as well as another microphone. Behind the phone, we have a fast and reliable fingerprint scanner, a microphone, a laser for autofocusing, a dual LED flash, as well as a 12.3 megapixel camera. All in all, this is a unique and simple design to allow Google to show off its software front and center. Just because the hardware is understated doesn't mean that it doesn't look good. I personally am a fan, but design is always subjective to other people. This year, Google didn't skimp out when it comes to performance, giving both phones the same powerful Snapdragon 821 quad-core processor, the Adreno 530 GPU, bundled with 4GB of LPDDR4 RAM. These phones are extremely fast and without a doubt the fastest phones on the market when it comes to Android, and that doesn't come easily at all when you consider phones like the OnePlus 3 and the Galaxy S7. As you can see, it can play games like Skyforce Reloaded, Monument Valley, and Uncharted 4 without any issues at all, as well as it can navigate through the operating system at a silky smooth 60 frames per second. This phone is blazing fast. The software on the Pixel is a given. Of course, it's going to be running that buttery smooth stock Android Nougat 7.1 out the box. Now, it's going to have timely updates from Google, and it's very well optimized with the hardware. All animations run at 60 frames per second, like I said before. Now, although this is a stock Android phone, it does have a new Pixel launcher on top that has a few upgrades compared to the popular and previous Google Now launcher. For starters, you'll notice that all the icons are circular and they're roughly around the same size. If you're coming from a Nexus phone or most other Android phones, you'll notice that the app drawer button is gone, in favor for a much more intuitive swipe up from the bottom to get access to all your apps. You still have the same swipe from the left of the home screen to give access to your Google News feed. Some of the features on the Pixel are split screen multitasking, holding down the home button to access the new Google Assistant, the new DOS 2.0, which provides much better battery life and standby time, the new and improved Notification Center with quick reply access native to the OS, app launcher shortcuts, and much more. Check out our full Android Nougat review to see more on the features of Android 7.1 Nougat. Now, I do want to quickly say that if you guys were ever a fan of Google Now, you're definitely going to be a fan of the new Google Assistant. It's just a much more better conversational style of Google Now with a cleaner interface, snappy responses, and she has a good little personality to her. You definitely like the new Google Assistant, and if you have ever checked out Allo or even the Google Home, and you're much going to be familiar with the commands that she can do. She also integrates well with the Internet of Things, as well as a lot of the home or smart home appliances. So Google Assistant has tons of features within itself, and if you want to see a separate video review on that, let me know in the comment section below. So let's talk about this camera. The Pixels are equipped with an 8 megapixel wide-angle f2.2 front-facing camera with a 12.3 f2.0 large 1.55 micron lens camera bundled with EIS 2.0 phase detection autofocus and laser autofocus on the camera. Oh wow, that sounds like a lot. But Google claimed during their October 4th event that the Pixel and Pixel XL not only have the same camera on both phones, but they are the best cameras in the market, receiving a DxO mark rating of 89, which is the highest any phone has ever got. Now, I was quite optimistic because the Nexus 6P was a very good camera, although it had its downfalls with shaky 4K video, and the HDR Plus on auto was pretty slow. The camera on the Pixels really are a big deal, and it starts off with the camera app that can be easily accessed by double tapping the power button on your phone, and this can be done anytime and anywhere, even if the phone is turned off. Now, the pictures that the Pixel can take really are breathtaking. They have great color, they're bright, and they have excellent class-leading dynamic range. That's mainly because Google has HDR Plus turned on by default. Now, the camera doesn't only start with the pictures, but it also starts with the video. This is probably the best video you can get on a camera right now, and this starts with the new and improved electronic stabilization, or EIS 2.0. This is a true testament to Google's optimization for hardware and software. Google was able to tie in the camera drivers and software with the gyroscope of the phone, which makes some extremely stable video. It's really impressive. You would think that this phone has OIS like the iPhone or the Galaxy, but it doesn't. This is just picture magic. It's really cool, and this works even if you're taking 4K videos, 1080p videos, or even slow motion shots. And speaking of slow motion, you have access to 120 frames per second or 240 frames per second slow motion shots from 720p or 1080p. Now, we also have 1080p at 60 frames per second and 30 frames per second, and we have that beautiful crispy 4K video at 30 frames per second. Take a look at these samples and you be the judge. Let me know what you think. If you're still not noticing a trend here, the Pixel and Pixel XL are all about Google's hardware and software optimizations. Now, this is very evident when it comes to the battery life of this phone. The Pixel has a 770 mAh battery, while the Pixel XL has a 3450 mAh battery. Now, both of these batteries are nearly identical to the batteries that were found in last year's Nexus 5X and Nexus 6P. The battery life in those phones were good, they just weren't class leading. Well, I'm happy to inform you now that the battery life in the Pixel phones are just outstanding. They're definitely class leading. When you can get a full day of use out of the Pixel phone, averaging anywhere from 4 to 6 hours of screen on time, while the Pixel XL can get me anywhere from 5 to 7 hours of screen on time. Now, if you're a much lighter user, you can possibly see battery life with the Pixel XL at 2 days, maybe even a day and a half with the Pixel phone, depending on how your usage is. You can also charge your phones very quickly with Google's USB Type-C rapid chargers. These can give your phones up to a full charge within 90 minutes or a quick charge for about 7 hours of usage in about 15 minutes. That number varies, but it's what's advertised. Okay, so let's wrap it all up. The Pixel and Pixel XL are excellent phones. They both have great build materials, excellent hardware, specifications, battery, software, and they're optimized appropriately to meet the best when it comes to in-class standards. Now, we've always been wanting this out of a Nexus phone from Google, but there's always been something missing, something lacking. But now Google has finally taken over the production of their own devices under the Pixel line, and we can finally see how great optimization does when it comes to delivering a near-perfect experience. This has been a great year for mobile technology. We have had excellent phones like the Galaxy S7, the iPhone 7, and now the Pixel. All of these phones do come at a great cost though, and the Pixel starts off around the same price as the iPhone 7 at $649, and that's only for the smaller 32 gig version. We can go all the way up to the Pixel XL for 120 gigabytes at a whopping $870. Some people find that these prices are too expensive, but I believe that the prices are pretty fair given all that you'd be getting, and you'd be hard pressed to find a better experience on Android. Now, this doesn't mean that there aren't better value phones out there. There are phones like the OnePlus 3 and the Moto Z that give you a better bang for buck. But if you want the best of the best and you're willing to finance this phone or pay it outright, you'd be hard pressed to find any better experience than the Google Pixel and Pixel XL. So it's no surprise that we here at Showtech Studios will give the Pixel and Pixel XL an A-, knocking off a few points for not having any major waterproofing in 2016 and also no longer having stereo speakers that were so famous from the Nexus line before. But these lack of features are not deal breakers, and at the end of the day, this is pretty much a no compromise experience and definitely the best Android phone of 2016. And we also believe this is a neck and neck experience with the iPhone and iPhone 7 Plus, which should not be taken lightly. If you enjoyed this video, give us a thumbs up, as well as leave us a comment in the section below, letting us know whether or not you'll be picking up a Google Pixel, or what features and innovations do you plan to see from Google next year with their next phone. Plus, if you haven't subscribed, you may want to do so you can be the first to get our exclusive videos. Thank you guys for watching, and I hope to see you guys in the next one. Again, this is Javon LeBlanc, and keep it chill. Peace.